everybody. So we're going to just go ahead and dive right on in. We're going to try and keep these videos as short as possible, and we still have a long way to go. So we're moving on to the next category on the list. And for this category, these are going to be movies that I will always watch anytime I encounter them, and as many times as possible, as long as they are available to me. But I don't really ever bother to look for them. And that might sound a lot like last week's category, but there is a fine difference, which is last week's movies I basically had watched to death to the point where I was no longer frequently really in the mood to watch them. These movies are movies that I could still very much get in the mood to watch, but because I also have seen them so much, I just kind of have them memorized. They already live in my brain. So I don't have to fight that hard to find them. If I happen to be in the mood to watch it, I can just, I don't have to watch it to watch it. So we're just, like I said, we're just going to go ahead and dive right on in. I do have a few visual aids this time, just because, so that you're not only looking at my face, but I don't have that many. I don't own that many of these movies. I used to have the VHS for most of them, but I just haven't been able to restock everything. So the few things that I have, I will show you, but I don't have that many. Anyway, moving on to number 90 is They Live from 1988. This is a movie directed by John Carpenter. It is a science fiction movie. If you've never seen it before, it doesn't look super impressive, if you're not really familiar with it, but it does have a lot of really striking social commentary to it, and just if you can get through it, there's a lot about this movie that's very impressive. At the very least, there is a very fun, super long fight in the middle of it that actually has Rowdy Roddy Piper in it. So if you're not familiar, I recommend at least for that. Okay, number 89 is Singing in the Rain, 1952. I didn't realize how much I was into musicals until I kind of took stock of my life and realized that actually, yeah, I kind of am. So Singing in the Rain is one of these movies that it's just fun and lighthearted and uplifting, and it's just, Gene Kelly's incredible. Debbie Reynolds is delightful. You can't not get happy when you see this movie. There's literally a song in it that says as much. So that's all I'll say about that. Number 88 is The Great Dictator, 1940, directed by Charlie Chaplin. Charlie Chaplin is one of my all-time favorite directors. The fact that I don't have every single Charlie Chaplin feature-length film on this list speaks to how hard I worked to try to make sure that there was even representation throughout the list. There's more than one on here, but it's not every movie, and that was difficult for me. So The Great Dictator, if you're not familiar with it, is the movie where Charlie Chaplin essentially made fun of Hitler. And what's interesting about that is that he did that before the world really knew why it was the thing to do. And he got in trouble for it, but, he thought it was important enough to do so. And so that's obviously something worth admiring. Also, though, of note, this is the last time that Charlie Chaplin's the Tramp character appeared, because this is the first movie that he came out in where he really, really talked. Charlie Chaplin had been slow to adopt the whole talkie thing. He had kind of gotten away with noises and gibberish in other movies, but this is the one where he finally kind of gave in and said, okay, the Tramp is going to have actual dialogue. Technically, the character isn't the Tramp, but I mean, it is the Tramp. And because he finally spoke, that basically killed the Tramp, and he never appeared in any of his films after that. So those are all things of note for this movie. Moving on. So number 87 on the list is Metropolis, 1927, directed by Fritz Lang. This is... You probably thought after last week, oh, she only has movies from the 80s and 90s that she grew up watching. Well, clearly you have no idea how old my soul really is. I do have some old ones on here, but it's legit. I love these movies. I do love to watch them. I think Metropolis is a beautiful movie. And there are actually lots of different versions of it because it's so old. A lot of the versions have been sort of lost to time, and there have been a lot of attempts over the years to kind of cobble together different kinds of edits based on, you know, footage that has been found. I've watched as many of them as I can find. I'm always interested in it. I just always find the story to be incredible. I do think that the fact that I'm such a huge science fiction fan, and this is one of the earliest versions of what modern day audiences might call a science fiction movie. It's not the actual first by any stretch of the imagination, but in terms of what modern audiences would like think of as a science fiction movie, this is probably one of the first. So that also, I think, gives it a special place in my heart because I'm a big sci-fi nerd. But anyway, moving on to number 86, that is The Devil's Advocate from 1997. So this movie, it was just fun to watch when it came out, and the more I've seen it over the years, the more I've like realized that I really do like it quite a bit. Obviously, Al Pacino's in it. Charlize Theron, in one of her earlier performances, she does amazing job. Keanu Reeves is in it. It's a well-directed, like very imaginative film with interesting subject matter. I just really like to watch it. It's a lot of fun for me. Number 85 is Chungking Express, 1994. This is one of a few movies from a Hong Kong director named Wong Kar-wai, I'm a massive fan. I love all of his movies. This is another one of those that represents a larger series of films that I just would have every single one of the movies on my list if I could. I recommend pretty much anything that he has directed, but in particular, the ones that came out in like the late 90s, early 2000s are you know, real near and dear to my heart. Chungking Express is a lot of fun. It's got a lot of interlaced vignettes, and there's a lot of interesting ideas in it, slightly off-center, quirky type love stories, and a lot of really interesting characters. I mean, it's Hong Kong cinema, so it's just not your typical American type of rom-com story. So anyway, I really enjoy it. Faye Wong is also hilarious and so much fun to watch, but I'll just stop there. Okay, number 84, Mars Attacks, 1996. If you've never seen Mars Attacks, just know that this is a movie that if you just didn't like watch it when it came out, you may not ever think to try to look for it or try to watch it. And then if you did ever see it, you may not necessarily find, you know, that much, find it that interesting, I guess. But I like the movie a lot. It has an absolutely stacked cast. Tim Burton directed it. It's funny and silly, and just really cool. But I do think that if it wasn't something that you kind of like watched at the right time in your life, probably would be difficult to get into it later on in life. But if you have occasion to watch it, I do recommend that you give it a shot. All right, number 83 is Mordecai from 2015. This is a strange little film that I came upon. It's interesting because, like I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, or a couple videos ago, I don't even remember at this point how long it's been. I am not somebody who likes to go out of my comfort zone very much. I tend to just kind of stick to my favorites and watch them just over and over and over again, and I am perfectly happy like that. The fact that I even bothered to watch a new movie that I had never seen before and didn't have any particular reason to want to watch is surprising in and of itself. There's nothing about this movie that would have piqued my interest or been like, oh, hey, I should check that out. It just happened to be on one day, and I just thought that looks kind of interesting. And I put it on, and oh my gosh, I'm so happy that I did. It's just exactly my sense of humor. I think I find every moment of it hilarious. I don't think I mentioned this. Johnny Depp and Gwyneth Paltrow are the main characters, but it does also have Ewan McGregor. It's got a pretty good cast, and everybody in it is just hilarious. So highly recommend, but definitely one of those movies that I don't have any idea what made me watch it, but I'm so glad that I did. So let that be a lesson to those of you who don't like to step outside your comfort zone. Sometimes it can be so worth it. All right, number 82 is Sliding Doors from 1998. I swear that I am not that big a fan of Gwyneth Paltrow, and yet there's two of her movies back to back on my list. That's just a coincidence. So Sliding Doors is a British-made movie that is one of the first movies I probably ever saw that represents not really the multiverse, but like kind of a split in the timeline type of idea, where like one decision could unravel two very different lines of events. And I really love that subject matter, so that makes this movie really dear to my heart. It's just very understated and very British, but I really, really enjoy it. So I just watch it whenever it's on. Number 81 is History of the World Part 1 from 1981. Mel Brooks. This might be his first movie on my list. I believe it is. It is definitely not the only one. I am not going to say that much about this movie. It is hilarious. It is Mel Brooks. I think that's as much as needs to be said. Well, one last thing. Don't be fooled by the name. It is called History of the World Part 1. There are no sequels, and that is the way that it should stay. Moving on to number 80, that would be Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. So, guys, Harry Potter is never not going to be important to my family. I read these books to my child. I mean, me and Sebastian would read a chapter every night before bed, and then every time we finished one of the novels, we would watch the movies. So it's never not going to be dear to my heart, but certainly not enough for me to put all of them on the list because there's just not enough real estate for that. So I ended up picking Order of the Phoenix because this is the one that I find a little bit more poignant in that it talks about that you shouldn't always put all of your faith in the government. Also, Imelda Staunton, this is the one where she plays Dolores Umbridge, and she does such an incredible job of making you hate her guts, which is okay because that's the character. Like she understood the assignment, and she absolutely nails it. So that's why I picked that one. Okay, number 79 is Wallace and Gromit and the Curse of the Were-Rabbit. Now, I would pick every single Aardman movie and put it on this list and then watch those movies all day long over and over and over again for the rest of my life. I think they're amazing, hilarious. I'm in such awe of the animators, obviously, and I just love them to death. But in terms of trying to distill that whole series down into one movie, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not sure that I necessarily picked the best one because I think The Wrong Trousers probably would have been the one I picked had that been the case. I went for the one that I just like to watch the most, that I have the most fun watching. So that was Curse of the Were-Rabbit. Quick note, they did actually put out a sequel to The Wrong Trousers called, I believe it's Revenge Most Foul, which is hilarious, highly recommend. So I think I'm going to probably just stop there for now. I just don't want this video to go on forever. So I am by no means am I anywhere near done with this middle section of the list. It's actually more than half the list. So we will just pick it up there next time. Let's see, that was number 79. So next time we'll start with number 78. So thank you very much, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your day and be safe.